It's just instant rejects. I don't even know if these are real jobs. After like 2 or 3 months, I started getting concerned, right? Like, are we gonna have to sell the house? It was more of an opportunity for myself to change, be able to live this dream that I've always wanted to live, right? Own my own business.
All right, Trung, thanks for joining me today here on Next Chapter Diaries. So, tell me about the bike rides with your mom. What does a normal Saturday with her look like right now?
Oh yeah, yeah. So around like Thursday or so, she'll call me and be like, "Trevor, we're going bike riding." Yeah. She's like, she's like, "So what day are you free to do it? Saturday or Sunday?" And I'll tell her I'm either free. Sometimes I play pickleball on Saturdays, and so then I'll tell her Sunday, or sometimes I play pickleball on Sunday and I'll tell her Saturday. But then like recently she's been hanging out with my sister Lori on Saturdays. And so we've been riding on Sunday mornings. Yeah, I take her on that tandem on Riverside and we go about 14 miles or so along the river.
No, it's a pretty ride, I remember.
Yeah, it's kind of hilly at certain points, but for the most part, it's pretty flat. But then, we come back and obviously it's not enough exercise for her and she wants to walk around the neighborhood. And so we take about a 3 mile walk around the neighborhood up our big hill that we have.
Yeah. What do you how do you feel when when she has more energy than you, and what is that like
Well, not necessarily more energy because I feel like during the bike ride, I'm doing most of the work. But um,
Okay, okay.
she definitely has a lot more mental energy than I do. Yeah, it does make me feel uh like I don't know, embarrassed a little bit.
Okay. So, why did you start riding your bike with your mom? Was there a particular moment where you felt that's something you needed to do?
No, well, it's just more of an opportunity for me to spend more time with her. You know, I originally bought the bike. I originally bought two tandem bikes, so that my wife and I and my kids would go tandem biking together. And then my family decided that they didn't like biking. And so I sold one of my tandems to my sister. Um, and then I was like, well, I still like biking and it's a tandem. And so it's a perfect opportunity for me to like, hey, let's spend more quality time with mom. Because, when you're on a tandem, you have nowhere else to go but to listen to each other, right? And there's no phones or anything else to distract you.
Well, take me back to when you decided like that spending time was important.
Yeah, I mean, obviously she's getting older. Um, and I realize in the back of my mind that there's not much time left, right? Um, we all have a number. And so yeah, it's a perfect time to do it. Uh,
So, you're saying that your realization kind of put a heavy weight on you to like I need to start spending more time with mom. Is that kind of
I
What
don't know if it's I need to. It's just a great opportunity for me to. I know that I don't know, I guess that's how I think. It's just I don't I don't feel like the need to do stuff. I just see opportunities and I take advantage of it.
okay. So you feel like the opportunity is there to spend time with her, and it's something you need to do as a son. We've known each other for a long time, so I've always looked up to you as a peer and a friend because you've always tried to do tried to be the best friend, the best son, and best brother, best. And so that's always really inspired me. You've always been really confident. And so these little things, do you feel like that is built into you from your past, or where do you feel like that's
Yeah,
come
yeah,
from?
yeah. I get you. Um, I see where you're coming from, but yeah, I I feel like that might come from my past, from me growing up. Um, you know, obviously, you know that I grew up in a uh, bad, like a broken family, right? My dad wasn't that great a person, and we left him early. But with seeing all the stuff that happened being a child, I, to me, family is one of the most important things in my life, right? And I treat people like family. I try to have the biggest integrity, uh, treat people how, I want to be treated. And, you know, I I'll tell you a couple examples here later in the interview. You might like it. But yeah, I do aim to I don't know if sort of please people, but it is kind of natural for me to just want to treat people right because I don't feel like I want to be treated bad, right? And as far as the friendship goes, I don't let that many people into our friendship group, but the people that I do let in, right? I treat them like family, right? I mean, you know that. Um, and I pretty much will help out any of them as much as I can. Um, yeah.
I want to circle back to what you mentioned earlier about your family and your upbringing and stuff. I think that's important, but so we'll circle back onto that a little bit later. Um, I guess what I wanted to ask you, because right now you're starting something new,
Hmm.
and can you take me back to the time that you're doing the job searching? What did that look like month to month? You got laid off, and so you're searching. What did that look like?
Yeah, sure. So I got laid off last November. And so
Uh,
obviously I took like the last 2 months off because nobody hires the last 2 months of the year, right? Um, and so come the new year, I started applying, right? And I would get on LinkedIn. Oh my gosh, I would search for all these jobs. I have this job feeds that come that matches what I do, right? I see all these perfect matches. I'm throwing my resume in there. And then, I get these instant rejects. I'm like, what's going on? Like, this is exactly what I've been doing for the past. 10, 15 years, right? Um, I spent a ton of time fixing up my resume and then tailoring it towards these job descriptions. And so I'm applying for like 10, 15 jobs a week, right?
Mm,
Doing that, still same. It's like, oh my gosh, it's just instant rejects. And or, you know, a couple weeks later it's a reject. Or I don't even hear back from them, right? I don't even know if these are real jobs. Um,
So
like
let me
again,
stop you.
yeah.
Let me. But so you did all this stuff, but how did you feel going through this whole process? What?
I, so it was really exhausting, right? Trying to do all that. And then obviously after like 2 or 3 months, I started getting concerned, right? And and really throughout the whole thing though, I've always wanted to do something myself, right? And so I knew God was gonna take care of me and eventually, it led to this and I know you're probably gonna talk about that later, but um yeah, I mean, I did I was pretty stressed about 4 or 5 months later, right? But it I don't know, it was me being stressed and then like just seeing my family and being stressed by watching them, right? Because I know like, hey, I gotta provide for these people.
Yeah. Did your body feel stressed? I mean, obviously, you've been in layoffs before. Well, take me back to the layoff. I mean, you've probably been to so many layoffs that it's not as big of a hit anymore, even though it kind of is still. I mean,
Well,
what
I've
was
actually
your?
only been laid off about 3 times in my career. The other times I've just left for another job. But again, I mean, yeah, I like to me back in the day, being laid off wasn't that big a deal, right? Eventually, I found something within a month to 3 months, and it was just basically a long vacation for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You've never really had trouble like people contacted you immediately and you'd start work again, and so it wasn't really a big deal, right?
Right.
Especially in IT. Yeah. But how did were you nervous? Like, take me back to that day that you got the note or they told you
This last
for
one?
the lay. Yeah. Did it feel any different?
No, I actually knew it was coming because all of a sudden, like my um CIO um planning an emergency meeting for all the IT people, and she mentioned that they were cutting the huge project that everyone was working on. And so I was like, oh, jeez. Okay. Well, I'm on the project and I know that, I work remote and they're trying to, cut out a lot of remote people. And I'm one of the higher paid people for my seniority level, for my
Yeah,
group.
yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, yeah, probably. And then sure enough, like an hour or two later, I get this email from HR. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
So there's no handshaking. You're like, oh man, this is
No,
there's nah. You're calm,
not,
collective.
not, not being in the industry for over 25 years. I mean, I've been through a ton of layoffs. I mean, again, me not being laid off personally, but being through a layoff type situation. Uh,
Okay. So when your name was called for the cutting board, it was just like, okay, just take my head.
yeah, pretty much. Well,
Just go
I
ahead and
mean, again,
swing.
I, I figure I'll get another job after the new year. That's why I was like enjoying the time off and stuff.
It's like a vacation. You're like, man, this is cool. It's been a while. I need a break. And
Exactly.
then
And
okay,
they give you a severance, and so it's like,
so
okay.
it's like
Jenny and I went on vacation.
okay. So can you even remember the date where you're kind of like, well, it's not working the way it usually works, and
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't know the exact day, but after 5, 6 months in, yeah, it was rough. Yeah, I remember sitting there on the couch, and one of the things that Jenny and I do is, at night we'll just relax and watch a movie or a show, and then she starts talking about like what am I actually gonna do? What happens if I don't get a job? And so that's when it really hit kind of hard.
okay. So, but that was you said about 5 months into it before you.
Yeah, 5 or 6 months. Yeah,
Yes, this is longer than usual, and there seems to be like a hole in the ship or something. Something's not right in the world
that's exactly right. But throughout the whole thing, man, I feel like God was actually closing that door
on
personally.
purpose. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like there were jobs that I interviewed. Like normally when I interview with people, I know if I did it super well or just totally bombed it, right? And I had a few interviews that, oh man, they went awesome. Like the people were awesome, they're good matches and stuff, but I don't know, it just didn't go through. It's weird. I mean, I'll get down to the two people left, right? I'll be one of the two, and they select the other person. And so,
Yeah. So, did you feel anywhere in the time that your kids were starting to be like, "Hey, is everything all right, Dad?" Or I mean, because Haley, she's getting ready to go to college, and Micah, he's getting ready to graduate high school. So they're probably like, what's going on?"
what's funny? So I think Micah really trusts me with finances and stuff. He knows how I'm gonna be there and get, take care of business. But like Haley, she,
She don't trust you.
she well, I don't know. Yeah, the she asked mom, like Jenny, that she's like, "Are we gonna have to sell the house?" And so I don't know. That's just that's just craziness. But
I think the kids, they just pick up on like little things, and that's just kind of like their way to, I guess, worry a little bit about us and say that we care. Uh, hmm. Okay. Well, let's go back to you mentioned a lot of what you do is kind of affected by the way you were raised. Tell me a little bit about like your journey here to the US. A lot of people don't know what that journey looks like and how it felt. Could give me more specifics of like the feeling when you're younger coming here and what that was like.
so, I mean, I left Vietnam when I was around 2, right? And we're part of one of what they call the Bow people or whatever. But anyways, sponsored over to Indiana, right? And coming from a tropical place to Indiana, where in the winter it snows like 5, 6 feet or more. You know, we're like freezing, and sometimes we can't even open the door because there's so much snow um, built up. But I was so small, I didn't really get to do much, and I was kind of just a little confused. I'm like, what's going on at times? But then I was like wondering why people were treating me differently. Like they were, I guess, like you see in those comedies, right, where people talk super slow and loudly to you, or try to make sure that you're understanding or whatever, right? And I don't know. It was just a little weird. Um, and of course, when I came, there's didn't know English, and so and not that that mattered much because I didn't get to go out much. I was pretty stuck in the house pretty much, other than when I was babysat by some of the sponsors.
Right.
That's a little interesting at times.
Now, tell the audience, what I mean, how many siblings you had. I don't think they really understand the dynamics like I do. Do you remember an image of your mom back then that stuck out?
Yeah, sure. Like, so I grew up with, so when we left Vietnam and landed in the US, there was, I guess, two older brothers and two older sisters and one younger sister. So there was six kids then. Later on, we had my baby sister after we left dad. I don't know if you want me to go into that.
I mean, you met your dad. I mean, what are some of the emotions you have and memories of your dad, and what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, the memories of my dad wasn't very good. He wasn't a great man. Pretty much an alcoholic. He wasn't very nice to my mom. I mean, there were times when I thought that he was actually gonna kill her. I mean, as a 3-year-old, I mean, you see this and it's like it's just crazy. And how he treated some of my older siblings, he was he wasn't very nice or gentle to us, right? And if we did anything wrong, it was just bad. Like I can give you an example. My oldest brother, right? Dad told him to go do something. I can't remember, but he didn't go do it. Instead, he went outside and played marbles. And so, yeah, he he took him in the house, grabbed him by the hand, turned on the range, and stuck his hand on it and burnt his hand.
Holy cow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that's my dad.
Good. Okay. And so how long did he were you guys with him? I mean, you mentioned he didn't stay around or
No, what happened was, my sponsors, they they saw what was going on, right? How he was treating my mom. And then, so recently when I say recently, probably about 10 years ago, my oldest brother got in touch with one of the sponsors, right? And so I didn't know a lot of these backstories until I started talking to him. But he told me that they bought us a ticket uh out of Indiana to leave my dad, right? Was because one day randomly told them that him and his brother, because we came over here with his brother too, his younger brother, um, that they were going to move to California and take three of us with them. And so one day, yeah, he went to work and my sponsors came over and gave us these tickets and said, "Hey, you guys got to go. Um, go go to Nebraska and stay with your aunt." And so that's what we
Holy
did. And my
cow.
mom was actually pregnant at the time, and I didn't even know that until we got to Nebraska and she had Josie.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. I didn't know that. So this is like an escape story. I didn't even know that you guys
Yeah, it was a
went.
huge escape. What's weird, you know what? So I asked the sponsor, like, so how did my dad react, right? Knowing that, like, I didn't feel like he loved us, right? But my sponsor said that he cried, like he wept when he came home and didn't see us, which was really
Oh, wow.
surprising. And I don't know if he just wept because he didn't see the three people that he wanted to take with him, or he just it just all of a sudden hit him that we're all gone. I don't know. I don't think our sponsors knew either, so but whatever.
So were you one of the 3 that he was gonna take, or, it sounds like
Definitely
he
no.
was playing favorites?
No.
Eh okay.
Yeah, I was probably the lowest on his totem pole of like likable kids.
But, I mean, you had to be only 3. How could or something.
Man, it's because he always made us choose between him or mom, and I always chose mom.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, crazy guy. You know, people could have taken that experience differently, right? Like I took it as like I'm never gonna be like this guy, right? Some people could have been like, I'm gonna be just like this guy pretty much. You know, you grow up, you see it, you do it, right?
Well, okay, so now so now your mom's alone. She must be like she came here with somebody, and now she's alone, and now you're alone. What's your
I
mom?
wouldn't call her alone. She's with her
All
kids.
6 of yeah, 6 of you guys. Well, I mean, she's the only adult and 7 kids, basically, and she's gotta raise all these kids up. I mean,
Well,
that's
she
not an easy
didn't.
thing to do.
No, it's not. But like I said, when we moved to Nebraska, we were living with my aunt and uncle too, and then eventually we moved to Tulsa and stayed with Mike's parents for about I don't know how long, probably a year uh, before they moved out. There's too many people in the house.
Okay. What do you remember about your mom raising 7 kids alone?
Well, the thing is, like, single parent, don't know much English, right? So she has to provide for seven kids, which is insane, right? And obviously, we lived in what you call the projects or whatever, low income housing. Um, and so she worked all the time, right? I barely saw her. And so, I mean, growing up, I spent a lot of time out of the house, just at friends' houses or hanging out with John. John and I were pretty tight. We did a lot of things together.
Sorry, to interrupt, but, John, can you tell the audience a little bit more about John, who that is? 'Cause, that it can get kinda confusing with
Yeah, yeah,
6
sure.
6 6 siblings.
Sorry about that.
No,
John
no,
is
it's okay.
the so yeah, there's 3 boys, my oldest is Coy, and then, John is the one that's right above me is John, so
Okay,
we're, like, 2 years apart.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. And you and John are close, or the closest you for as far as brothers, or
Yeah, we're pretty close.
mm, okay. What I just want to circle back real quick. What do you know or don't know about your dad that you wish you knew or did know?
Uh, um, I mean, I kinda like to understand what went through his head and why he treated us the way he did, and, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know, just the person that did what he did was pretty bad. Like, was he really that bad, or was he super stressed with everything, right? I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I see that curiosity because now you're 50 and now you understand the world a little bit better. Now you kind of like it's never just black and white type of thing. And well, like what, how was he raised? Maybe all that stuff
And
kind
it's
of
not nice to
affects.
tell people how old I am.
Oh, you look so young, so we're the same age.
Yeah, yeah,
So.
thanks.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, but okay. So I've known you for I mean your family for a while. So why don't you tell the audience how did we meet? What's your story? What's your version? What's the story look like from your
So I
perspective?
had just moved away from, the north side of Tulsa, which is a pretty rough side. Um, and then started going to middle school and then didn't know anyone there. I was in art class and I was like, who is this skinny, tall Asian dude who's
I was pretty
always
skinny,
drawing
man.
Nike sneakers? But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
funny.
so that's the first time I remember seeing you. I don't think we became friends then, right? I think we
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was until high school. I think we met
right.
in maybe middle school, but no actual words were exchanged. I think, and it's funny anytime like an Asian sees another Asian kid because there's really not that many Asian kids, right? In like
That's exactly
Oklahoma.
right. Yeah. Yeah, I think when we actually became friends was when in science class, right? Nobody else would pick
Mm.
us because we're Asian, so we had to pick each other.
Oh, but that was the beginning of our journey. That's so funny. All right. So, do you let's circle back. So, I know your mom, our parents, your parents probably kind of shaped, how you saw success. I just feel like Asian parents are really good at that type of stuff. How they shape your idea of what success should look like? What do you think that was? Did your mom shape a certain idea of success for you? I mean, obviously your dad wasn't around, so it must have been your mom. What did that
Yeah,
look like?
sure. Yeah, sure. Obviously I failed because I didn't become a doctor or lawyer.
Yeah, I had that pressure too. Like, hey, how about a doctor or lawyer? And I was like, maybe.
That's kind of all they
I
knew, right?
yeah, yeah.
And
That's
so I didn't
from
really
the
get
friends
much
too.
guidance. Yeah. didn't get much guidance as far as like what else could I be, right? You know.
Mm,
Um, Obviously I was pre-med going into college with you, and that changed
yeah, I
pretty
think
quickly.
all the Asians were pre-med the first year.
Yeah,
A- And then somewhere in between there, right? So somewhere in between there, you decided to spend what you say 25 years in the IT field, right?
yeah, that's right. Like, um, well, let's go back to what my mom, like, growing up, she ingrained hard work, right? You got to work
Yeah,
hard. You got to go to college, you know, so you can not work as much as I do,
yeah.
so you can be successful. And so, I went to college, which is weird because not all my siblings did that.
Well, do you think it's because they didn't feel that pressure as much as you did, or why do you think you decided? Because you mentioned kind of being like a people pleaser, so do you feel like that's what kind of what you were trying to do with your mom in some way?
No, I wanted to be successful.
Okay.
I wanted a good job, and I thought that's all I knew really, right? Hey, you go to college, you get a job after college. I don't know why my siblings did what they did, so I can't speak to them. Well, come to find out though, some of them actually went to college later on in their lives, in their careers. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
Okay. So success, let's circle back. So what is success? What's the feeling of success for you that
Like
was
now or
ingrained
what?
in well, sure. Give us a reference before and now. What does that look like?
I mean, before it's just, uh, I mean, I guess it's the same. Before it was just like making enough money to provide and save money, right? No matter what it was you did. I mean, you have to work hard and deal with the stress or whatever. Now success to me is like, um, yeah, make enough money to survive and save some if possible, and spend good quality time with your family and friends.
Okay. So that shifted. Do you feel like that shifted the feeling?
I think it shifted some, yeah.
Hmm. Well, when can you remember the moment that you felt like it shifted?
Um, I mean, obviously with my sister's death, and a lot of you don't know this, but my second oldest sister passed away last year, and actually today is the anniversary of that.
What?
Um, yeah,
Oh my God, that's crazy.
today's the
We didn't
anniversary of
plan.
that.
Holy cow, we didn't even plan that.
Nah. So, it makes you kind of realize, what's important, right? Life. And obviously I still think about her a lot. But yeah, and doing this new endeavor that I'm doing allows me to spend some time with family and work at my own pace, if I wanted to.
Um, I want to ask you about um your pivot here. Um, 25 years being the guy that like does all the IT work. What is it actually like now? You're starting something new. Can you tell me feeling that brought you the story that, kind of led you to what you're doing now?
Yeah, sure. Like, so I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? Um,
Yeah,
to do something on my own, but like, it's hard to try to do that once you're like stuck in corporate world, corporate America, right? And have a family, right?
yeah, no,
Where you're pretty much the I mean, not always the sole provider, but the main provider, right? Of the income and stuff like that. And obviously, when I was young, didn't have much savings. Um, and so I didn't have any, I don't feel like I had the opportunity to do that. But since this whole thing happened, after 25 years of like saving and, with 401k and whatever, right? It, it allowed me to be like, okay, I think this is the perfect time for me to become a handyman, right? Start my own thing. So, I mean, I did it. I mean, what's weird is this guy in my neighborhood, because I had contacted him a year ago or so to, try to get him to take Micah and my son on, uh,
mm.
so that he can kind of learn some kind of trade. So maybe he'll do that as a business growing up, right? Anyways, he didn't contact us very often last year. He was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, we did." But then I guess he got so busy or whatever. Then, like all of a sudden, like a couple months ago, he contacted us and was like, "Hey, yeah, I have so much business, and is your son still interested?" Well, Micah's like, "No, I'm not working with him. He didn't even get it back to us, and blah blah blah." And so I was like, "Okay, well." I messaged him back. I was like, "Well, Micah's not interested anymore, but I'm thinking of starting a handyman business myself. Do you mind if I just like go work with you? Like not as his employee, but like work with him as a contractor or something, right?" And so I did that for like a week, and I was like, "Yeah, I can do this."
What was it what's it like to kinda just start over at 50 and have to just kind of, like, relearn everything from a neighbor?
Well, I
I
don't know if I
mean,
relearned stuff, because obviously
okay.
I've done stuff to my own house and uh
Right.
from
Yeah.
owning, rental properties and
Mm.
stuff, right? Um
Yeah.
so I've had plenty of tools and experience doing handyman stuff. It was just a good opportunity that he provided where, I can go out and just do some stuff with him, right? Just for a little start and get a tiny bit of income coming in, make kind of make you feel good, Hey, I
Yeah.
made some money finally for the last 8 months. But um yeah, I mean it was it was different. It was kind of relieving actually to be out and just be like kind of free from corporate America, right? It's weird. It's like it was more freedom being out there experiencing this stuff for yourself. Like you're working for yourself actually, right? As opposed to being in corporate America where you're actually working for the company and to better their company, not yours.
Okay. So that's interesting that you have that because I do feel like sometimes there's a fear of when what starting out something new, and so um, there's a fear of failure. Well, what if like I start this and it doesn't work out or I don't get enough business and stuff like that. So yours is more of excitement, exhilaration of finally doing something that you wanted to do for a long
It
time
was, but
type of thing.
obviously there's a slight fear that obviously like what if I don't get enough business, obviously. But
Yeah,
I feel like that fear is long gone.
and it's
With the,
replaced. How did you yeah, how did that happen? Because I'm
just
sure
working with different revenue streams, right? Like property management teams. Jenny's aunt's actually a property manager. So I worked with her.
okay,
I went around and tried to introduce myself to other property management teams around town.
okay,
Um, try to work with realtors. So those are my main revenue streams right now. But then like obviously I have friends that own businesses and things like that. And so they would contact me for, work um
yeah.
at their businesses.
Do you feel like there was a part of you that felt something for the part of you that seems like isn't that built up the whole career and the title and everything? Are there any emotions for that guy and the new guy, or the new guy just completely took over and he's like, dude, this is me now?
Never, I mean, I do feel sorry for that guy that like worked in corporate America that he had to do that for 25 years, whatever.
I mean, no, that is just a real question, you know? I mean, I feel like a lot of people, if they're not now in that position, maybe they will be. And what is that next step can be really scary, you know?
Well,
Uh,
I don't know if owning your own business is for everyone. I mean, I've spoken to plenty of IT people, you know, and a lot of them love what they do. I mean, they're
mm,
always
yeah,
online, right? Whenever you
mm,
need them. They
yeah,
just love it. It's just, I don't know. It's just crazy to me.
okay, okay. So what about, do you know other people that got laid off or other friends in that company that are pivoting as well, or they're just kind of
A lot of them were younger than me, and some of them didn't even realize it. It was a layoff HR email. It was weird. They're like, "Try, I get this." I was like, "Yeah, that's a lay." You're kidding, laid off. It's like, "No, are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes." Just think about it. CIO just cut the project, and now you're getting HR letter. No, most of them, they were kind of in a frantic, kind of what you were describing that, maybe I felt. But th yeah, they pretty much found other IT positions.
hmm, okay,
As far as I know, like I'm friends with them on LinkedIn, and so and I see
hmm,
their update profile updates.
okay. And then you came up with, what's the name of your, handyman service again?
The name is Sooner Fix It Pros, right?
Hmm,
Boomer Sooner. Um, and we're in the Sooner state, so
yeah, yeah, gotcha,
I had to take advantage of
gotcha.
that. Um,
No, that's a good name.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so during the time I was laid off, right, I actually started just building stuff, and I just felt relaxed and just in my own
For
element.
fun, you just started building
Yeah, just for
stuff.
fun, just building stuff for my backyard, and things like that, and whatever. It was it was relaxing. Oh, so you know how I was telling you, like, I feel like God was closing the door on IT?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so part of that I know is God because I don't know if you know remember or know that, like, I kinda have back problems, right? Like, if I'm leaning
Yeah.
over a lot, and that's from playing so much sports, right, growing up. But, like,
Right.
when I lean over a lot, you know, like, my back would be really stiff, things like that. But, well, all of a sudden, that's gone, man.
Huh.
I'm just
Well, that's
saying,
cool.
I feel like
No, that's
God
cool.
closes the doors and then, like, fix me so that I can do this work.
Wow. No, that's cool because most people would be like, I've switched from, being on a computer to manual labor and coming home, they would say like, "Hey, I'm more physically tired than, being on a desk is usually." I feel like that's what most people would say. So I was curious also what that felt like. Now you're holding a hammer instead of a mouse, and you're closing the notebook instead of the toolbox now. Was your first day of doing this handyman thing? How did that feel? I mean, you're working with your
Uh,
neighbor.
the first day working with my neighbor,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I mean, it was like I said, it was kinda relaxing. I was like, I'm kinda free, you know? It felt like something was lifted. Just I felt free. Like if I was a bird, I got let go out of my cage, right? I'm like flying.
Okay. No, I know exactly how that feels actually. Do you feel like part of the reason you felt that is because of what happened with your sister and that time just feels so much more important and that you had to free yourself to live your next chapter?
Um, no, I mean, not necessarily. It was more of an opportunity for myself to change, be able to live this dream that I've always wanted to live, right? Own my own business and maybe scale it for my kids, things like that.
So what do you think Kali taught you about time then? If it wasn't about the job, then what did she teach you about time then?
Well, yeah, obviously, I mean, time. I mean, when she passed, you're like, I, I really, I look back and I'm like, man, I really didn't take advantage of like her time here on Earth because I know I didn't spend enough time with her. Um, because there's so much that was going on in her life that I had no idea. And I mean, even though she lived, what, 7, 8 miles away, I I didn't even see her but like 2 or 3 times a year, which is really crazy. And then like what really hurt me and hit me hard was when you know, when she her cancer came back and you know, Lori and I Lori, my oldest sister, um, were like, "Yeah, you need to go down to Houston and we'll help you, blah blah blah," right? And Holly was like, "Wow, I really didn't think that you and Lori, like Lori and she didn't think that Lori and I, out of the family, loved her and cared for her. And so she said, I, I just, I never would have thought that you and Lori would want to do this for me and want me to fight. And like that hit me pretty hard. I was like, how can you even say that? I mean, you're my sister. I don't even know what I did to make her even think that, you know?
Yeah. No, no, man. Uh, I remember the eulogy, and man, it just made me cry when you stood up there, and I mean, you mentioned that, and that part. I don't know. I knew your family pretty well, so it's just, I think for me, it also, made me realize how I mean, I kinda already knew how important time was, but it just made it even heavier, eh, how much time, how important it is, even though I already knew and I was living it, like, living like you're dying, you know? I mean, I don't know. It's just the uh, do you remember standing in front of that room, looking out at everybody?
Sure do. I mean, halfway into my speech, I couldn't see anybody. All the tears in my eyes, it was just, yeah, that was, it was pretty bad.
Yeah. When you were out there, was there a face where you're looking at your brother or your mom when you were talking? What what did your hands feel like?
How, I mean, it felt really surreal to just be there and speak on it, right? And I couldn't focus on anyone. And, you know, the only thing I can think about is just like she's no longer here. Uh, I was just trying to get through that speech. Uh, I mean, I mean, that's my first real loss, like a person that was that close to. Um, I mean, my father died like years before Holly, but like again, I lost touch with him and personally didn't really care that much.
Yeah. What do you remember the hardest thing to say in your eulogy? What was the moment where just you mentioned the crowd just kinda turned blank? W Where was
Y-
that?
Yeah, well, you know how I like to joke. and I always start my speeches off with jokes. It all started tears started flowing as soon as those jokes were done, and I started talking about Holly and, that moment that I just shared with you guys. Yeah, that was part of my speech. But yeah,
When you were giving that speech, was there a memory that was going through your mind that you and her shared?
you know, just her cancer allowed me to spend a lot more time with her during that time. And I kind of thought about the time like I actually cut her hair during that when when we were down in Houston and um she was getting treatment and one day she came home and wanted me to cut her hair for her and, and she had long hair that's past her shoulders and I cut it all the way up to about right there.
You know, your sister, she was she was a big believer in God,
Yeah, huge.
and, what I noticed is when she was sick, she was still going through the cancer treatment, and even to the very end, she was still always telling people about God.
That's exactly right. She never wavered. That's like that is some strength right there, man. I mean, the last time she went down to Houston, and she knew she had no more, she knew the oncologist told her that they had no more, nothing else that they could do for her. And so she went down there, and we didn't know that. Mm. She kind of let us believe that there that there was another option for her. Anyways, she went down there, and the doc, like, they actually put her in, the what is the part of the hospital where they're just treating you and waiting for you, making you comfortable for death? Well,
Hospice or something?
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and so she's in there, and the nurses are like saying, like, you know, Is there anything we can do for you? Anything we can give you, whatever?" And she's like, "No, I've got God, and He's gonna heal me, blah blah blah." And one day they came in, and like she was like before, like when she got there, so she couldn't walk. But well, God like allowed her to walk and stand up and raise her hand and walk to the bathroom, and the nurses came in and they're like, "Oh my god, what is going on?" And she praised God and stuff. And on my sister's account, my other sister's account, she said that those nurses like were freaked out. They couldn't believe that Holly was like walking. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, she wasn't healed, but I feel like God probably allowed her to do that to witness to these people. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Maybe use her for one last time.
yeah.
And so I feel like that was a blessing.
Oh, okay, well, you know what? That was heavy.
It's really heavy.
When I was staying with you in April, we we were able to spend a lot of time, with our other friend Brent. We played a bunch of, board games with him. He's really has tons of board games, and we spent a lot of good quality time, and, during that time, we talked about, this, this idea, and, I'm gonna bring it up now. What do you think? We had brought up something called Bun Me Bros, and it was what was Bun Me Bros' dream really about? Under the food and the traveling. What was it? What is it about? Proving we could build something together outside of our titles, or what do you think it was all about? On a lighter note,
I mean, I think it's just living the dream, and we're big foodies, right? Pretty much gluttons. Um, Going out traveling and tasting the world, right? Um,
yeah, yeah.
that to me would be living the dream.
Yeah, just to give the people context, we were talking about a YouTube channel, creating a channel where we just kind of went out and ate food. And what was that moment when we decided, hey man, maybe we could do this?
I don't know. Just looking at some of the people that are doing it.
Right on
Like,
YouTube, we're watching YouTube.
I do want to tell you though, like with Holly being, so with me starting this business, it it it's so cool. One of the coolest part right now is my son Micah. He's working with me now. He's a senior in high school. He's been working with me on this project for like 5 days now,
That's awesome.
and he's learned a lot. I got to like hang out with him. He sees like some of my interactions and stuff. Like some
Mm,
like for instance, like today, we went to the house. We found out like we had just taken up the this huge bathtub, right?
yeah,
This thing is like cast iron. It's just huge and heavy. It probably weighs like 400 pounds.
yeah.
We lifted it. This is a super old house. We lifted it up, pulled it out, swung it over, and pulled it out of the house. And we come back in there, and like we did that yesterday. We came back in there today, and I'm looking at the piping work, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's all bent because it's lead, right? I mean, the drain pipes were lead, and they're huge pipes, but like in the process of moving it, the tub, it like put a big gash in the pipe, so we got to replace it. And I've never done lead pipes before, and so I need a plumber to come out and do it.
Hmm.
So I contacted my property manager, see if he knew anybody, but so he's like, yeah, I know somebody. I'll send you the contact. Sends me the contact. I call this guy. I'm trying to like I'm not a plumber. I told him I don't know all these terminologies, but I'm trying to explain this to you what it is.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to do that, and he was being like really impatient, really rude. And I have him on speakerphone, right? I like talking on speakerphone. And Mike is standing right there, and he hears this, right? And the guy's being super rude to me. And I'm like, at the end, he's like, um, do you want me to send out a truck to come look at the problem? I was like, no, thank you. like calmly. It's like, no, thank you. I appreciate it. And I get off the phone with him, and then Micah's like, Dad, I don't know how you spoke so nicely and calmly to this guy. That dude was being a jerk, except he used other words. But yeah, I'm like, I told him, you, you want to treat people with integrity if you want to have them to treat you with integrity, right?
Yeah.
Um, Come to find out later, about 5 to 10 minutes later, the guy calls me back
Mm.
and he's like, "Hey, I have more time now and I can listen to you." And he's being really nice, like totally different dude almost. And I was like, "No, I appreciate it, but I've found somebody else." And I didn't appreciate the way you spoke to me. You're you're being really rude and impatient with me. And I don't like working with people like that. And he apologized. I don't know. Like to me, those are life lessons that are just I couldn't have just how kids are. You tell them stuff. They're like, yeah, yeah, whatever. But when they see it in action, you know what I mean? It's like it makes a huge difference. Just all these lessons that he's learning from working with me. I'm not saying I'm a perfect person or whatever, but like
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
with like troubleshooting stuff, like to get that giant tub out, it was so heavy. When we first started lifting it up, it gets stuck on something. But obviously it was so heavy, none of us could like not one of us can just hold it up by ourselves, right?
Mm. Mm.
To look to see what's going on. And so like we're gonna go get a big um uh crowbar, right? Then you lift it up. But on our way to the car, I was like, hey, why don't we just use my jack, my car jack? It's like, yeah, okay. If we go back in there, we lift it up and kind of put it there, and I stick the jack in there. Like we lifted up high enough to put the jack in there, and then started jacking it up, and I'm like looking around, and it's like, yeah, that thing is hitting right here on this piece of wood. And then I was like, Micah, why don't you like push that way while I'm jacking it up so we can go past that piece of wood, then we can just lift it and swing it out. And we did that and it worked. And now he knows how to troubleshoot stuff. So, you know, figure out what the situation is, why things are, what's causing the issue, and then remediate it, right?
Yeah. No, I I know exactly how you feel, but tell me how you feel when you're able to one spend the time with your son doing something like this because I feel like a lot of dads this is like a dream thing to be able to like you said everything you said. How does that feel in your chest and when you breathe in?
It's awesome. I mean, obviously it comes full circle. When he was a kid, spending time with him, playing sports and stuff, that was great. And then he grows up, barely sees them, don't hang out with him much. And then now I get to spend time with him at work. That's like, it's amazing. Like, we'll just talk about random stuff, listen to sports radio while we're working, random ramble on about different athletes and why OU is going to win the Natty this year. Why they're not going to win the Natty because their quarterback, blah blah blah. Whatever. I like you, man. I couldn't have asked for more. Seriously.
is a blessing, right? Yeah,
it's a huge blessing. Like that, there's no way I would go back to IT and not be able to work with my son. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. No, I know. It's one of those things where like I'm at that point where he's 13, my son's 13, and so like everything is like a lecture and everything's a lesson, and he doesn't want to go like to have something what you're having right now is like impossible for a teenage kid right now, you know what I mean? And so to have like this light at the end of the tunnel, and even this is like a gift, and so the feeling I'm trying to live in the feeling that you're explaining. With men, it's really hard to really get the words. He's standing there listening to exactly what I'm saying, so we're like trying to have the words to like explain our feelings is so difficult because we've never really been trained that in this way, and so yeah, so yeah, just as anytime you can tell me how that feels, man. Just let me
It's
know
amazing,
because that's
Jim. It's amazing. Just, just wait till your boy grows up. He's gonna be doing
oh man.
podcasts with you.
Okay, yeah, we'll see about that. I can't even get him to watch one of my episodes. It'll probably be 35 before he watches one.
That's because you have content.
We'll probably have to unconscious. Yeah, probably. What do you hope your kids will see watching you do this?
Oh, that I mean, that cliche that you can actually go do whatever you focus on it, you can be successful at it, right? With hard work. So, like, don't be afraid to go out and do something if you really want to do it. And even if you fail, whatever, get back up and do it. Something different.
When your kids see this, watching you do this, what do you hope? Um, is that they'll be brave? I think the thing is, how do you get them from not being afraid? I feel like that's the hardest part. How do you get them from that feeling? It's easy to say, just don't be afraid, but
Yeah, yeah. I don't think you can really teach that or say anything to comfort that because feelings you really can't control, right? Um, you're naturally gonna be afraid or nervous when you do something new, right? Like the 25 years that I worked in IT, every new job I got, the first week or so, I was nervous. Why? I don't know. I mean, same sort of stuff I've been doing forever, right? It's just something new, and that, again, feelings you can't control, in my opinion.
you can't stop feeling. Although, if you stop feeling, then you die pretty much.
Yeah,
So
pretty
you're
much.
always going to have the feeling. So it's more about controlling the feeling.
Yeah, the way to control it is to do it and be like, oh, yeah, I can do this, you know? And then the feeling goes away. The whole anxiety of like not knowing, that would never go away. Like, personally, I think people seek that sometimes, like all those daredevil people, not knowing if they're gonna die this time when they do this parachute or ride their bikes down mountains, you know? Some people seek that feeling. And I don't think it ever goes away until once you're if you're going down that mountain, like 2 minutes into it or something, you're like, "Yeah, okay, you're not gonna die, that feeling's gone." And then you start enjoying it.
Is there a place you drive past every week that has a specific memory attached to something that no one else knows about? Or just a specific memory, maybe something triggers a memory that no one else knows about that brings back a strong memory.
Um, no, not specifically like that. Not specifically where I like driving by something or whatever. This is something weird. I was riding tandem with mom, right? And this is this year, so I was laid off. Anyways, I'm riding tandem with her on Riverside, and I mean, this morning was just beautiful. Um, I'm looking at the trees, I'm looking at all the different things, the geese and the people, whatever, right? Looking at this beautiful blue sky and just like, wow, pretty nice. It's beautiful. I'm surrounded by beauty. And all of a sudden, God goes, Trung, I've provided everything that you've asked for in your life. I was like, okay. And then he like flashed back to some memories of the stuff that I actually asked for, right? I didn't I've never asked for much, right? It's probably like I don't know, two handful of things that I actually like asked for in life. And he reminded me of those things as we rode Riverside.
Mm.
And I think that was a way of him saying, don't worry, I'm taking care of you in this new venture that I'm doing. This is before I opened up Sooner Fix It Pros. But yeah, I mean, it kind of gave me a comfort um, that, that I'm not going to fail at this because I have gotten myself. And now, like, I'm so busy right now, I like have to turn down some jobs.
Wow, that's really amazing. And how do you feel with this message?
What do you mean?
Do you feel like God, like your faith is tested? I feel like a lot of times where everything in the world may feel like it's falling apart, or according to society, this would be like the worst thing in the world right now. But because of your experience and faith, how God has time and time again provided for you, that all these feelings that you're almost taught that you need to be feelings, anxiety or worry, or is just maybe typically normal. That's, you have to be prudent. You got to check this and you got to check that because that's just not how the real world works. Because sometimes if you tell people these things and they don't haven't experienced it, they want to that in your heart that it is God speaking to you, but they think they hear the story and you share it with them and they're like, "Oh, it's probably just coincidence and you need to be prudent. And here's the steps you need to do to be prudent." You know what I mean? Because it's
I know exactly what you mean, but I've had so many experiences with God that I know when he's doing something for me, and I know when it's just me thinking stuff, you know. I mean, seriously, how does my back randomly just be okay to do this stuff.
And you've
You
had
know,
it for problems with it for, like, over what, 10 years or something?
man, for a while, for a
The
long time.
okay.
I remember back when I was younger and I owned those properties, rental properties, and I did, handyman type work. Oh man, my back would be just like I would be in pain doing that stuff. And I was young. Now it's not like that. It's weird.
It's like he healed you.
Yeah, it's gone away. I it's just weird. I don't know what to say, but this is just one of the examples of him taking care of me and being faithful because I was faithful. I mean, I have many examples too. I mean, we can have a whole podcast of it.
About, no, I think, there is a niche for that because I feel like there's so many people that need to hear it or that it just happens so many times in your life that there are data sets that you can actually rely on. You know what I mean? That it's like, no, this can't be coincidence, but there's too much data sets that says this, this, and this, that it's not coincidental type of thing. And that it's I know it's God type of thing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, that and I feel like I hear his voice. Like when he told me during my bike ride, right? So just another example.
Your sister Sue, she lives basically right across the street from you. What is what's the normal unscripted moment between your houses on a random Tuesday night? What does that look like?
Yeah, sometimes she'll just stop by randomly with like a plate of food.
To take home?
Yeah, normally that's what it is, but like lately it's been her like coming over, cooking something new or something, just bringing it over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow,
I'm
that's
like,
awesome.
oh wow, okay. I was like, well, why don't you stay and eat it with me? She's like, I gotta go turn off the burner. It ain't. She's like, well, Coy's coming over too, so I was like, okay. But yeah, she's it is kind of cool to have her
Yeah,
next door.
yeah,
Um, and I'm actually going to be doing like some handyman stuff for her.
uh-huh,
Like I've already done some, but there's this other thing that she's wanting built in her house that
yeah.
she wants me to do. So I'm gonna be spending a lot of time with her eventually.
I also notice, your T-shirt, is that's your brand? And
Yep.
how does one get a hold of, Sooner Fix It Pro? You got a website or a link, or how do you book
Do have a
something?
website. It's soonerfix-itpros.com.
Okay. Well, I can provide a link.
I Yeah, I mean you can email me from there or you can email Trung at soonerfix-it.com. Um, and you can get hold of me that way.
Okay, cool. Um, one last thing. I don't know if I've ever said this to you straight. There was a stretch of my life where I genuinely didn't know if I was going to make it through in one piece. Um, it's kind of where it's kind of like where you're lying awake doing math on your own life and you're wondering how you got here. and there was a voice in my head, and it was telling me that if I had just been stronger, if I had handled things better, maybe I wouldn't have failed at the one thing I was supposed to protect. And I guess underneath that was something worse. It was more like a fear that whatever I was going through would end up costing my son um, the father that he actually needed. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, those aren't really pretty thoughts. Um, but honestly, that's where I was. And you were there at the time, and you didn't just sit with me with that. You told me something that I really, it was really hard to hear. Um, I think you've gone through your own version of it, and you told me that, I had to get right with God first. And, I didn't really even know how things were going to turn out. And I had to basically trust God regardless of the outcome, even if it was something that I didn't want. And I think that's not the advice I wanted that year, but I really needed to hear it. I think the other thing is that there's just so many times, I guess, in my life where you've been there for pretty much all the moments in my life that really cost me something. And I know a lot of it. Um, I don't know. I guess I don't know if I've ever really thanked you for that, and so thank you. I don't know. It just felt I don't know. I think for guys, it's really hard to like say say things and explain these feelings we have. So I just want to thank you for just always being there as my friend, and in fact, you're more uh, of a brother to me. So
Mm, man, I appreciate your thanks. And obviously there's nothing else I would have done, right? I mean, you're a brother. I mean, your brother here, your brother in Christ. Of course, I had to be there for you, and I know you'd be do the same for me. Obviously, I'm always going to be there for you, and I know you're going to do the same for me. So I do appreciate hearing to thank you, but it's just a natural thing that guys are like, yeah, whatever. We already know it's intrinsic that we know there's appreciation there, right? You know, it's kind of like if I haven't seen you for 5 years, we can come back and still be brothers, right? Just pick up right where we left off.
you know, um, when I called you in that moment, what was going through your head?
Uh, I mean, it's kinda sickening to me because I knew how you were feeling, right? And that was, like, the toughest thing that I have ever gone through, and I didn't wish it on anyone. And then, come to find out you're going through it, but on a different, higher magnitude than I ever did. And so it was like I was feeling your pain, and so I don't know. It was a tough time, and I'm glad you stuck with God.
Yeah, I mean, everything everything that happened was a God thing. I mean, I see it so clearly now, type of thing. And, you're right. You're absolutely right. I had to get right with God, and then at the same time, I had to sit with the feeling and the reality that whatever happened, I had to trust God, even if it didn't unfold the way I wanted to. And, I think that helped out a lot, and my faith was definitely tested.
Yeah. But hey, it did unfold the way you wanted to, right?
Yeah, but I'm on a new adventure now, and, that, that has its own, new layers of, testing your faith, I'm sorry, faith, testing your faith. So,
This was a good interview.
yeah, no, it turned out a lot better. Still learning, still learning, but that's the whole point is lead by example, right?
That's exactly right.
It's like you can't teach bravery, but you can lead by example. And it's yeah, you can tell people to be brave all you want, but until you start doing it yourself, then they really won't know what being brave is all about. And I don't think that we realize that until like we get older and we realize the sacrifices that our parents made and how they led by example. And what examples did they lead by? What do you feel like you learned from your parents through example that you now understand now today, where the weight of that feeling, you weren't able to hold it when you were young?
I mean, obviously, when you're younger, you don't understand how somebody could love you and unconditionally and love you as much as your parent would, like, to give their life to you. I mean, my mom is the prime example of, like, sacrificing her own life for her kids. I mean, throughout her whole life, it was pretty much focused on providing for her kid. I mean, I remember growing up after we left our dad, mom dated someone, right? And I was about 5, 6 or so, or maybe 7. I don't know. But I was like, okay, well, she's seen somebody. That's good. And like, this guy better be nice to her or whatever, right? Then a few weeks later, she's not with the guy anymore. And then I see that again with another guy where she's just, she dates this other guy. Same thing happened. And this is not like just right after the other, like it's like a year or two apart, whatever. And find that like that was it. And then come to find out later, my mom told me that when she dated people back in the day, she would ask them, "Hey, are you okay with dating me and taking care of my kids too if we, you know, get married or whatever?" And they would say no, and then she would leave. And so that was like after like 2 tries, she quit, and she was pretty much focused on us. To this day, like, I make good money. To this day, she still comes over, gives me food, like groceries and stuff, or whatever, and it's just insane to me. I mean, she goes and weeds our yard, take care of plants and stuff, and it's like constant just sacrifice. And that's all she knows. She pretty much sacrificed her entire life so that her kids can have a better life than she did. And that's what makes her the happiest is when somebody asks her for something, they need something and she has it. For example, Haley, my daughter, going to college at OU next year. Um, it, we're like, Mom, do you have any extra plates and silverware and stuff and pots and pans? Because we know she does. She's like, oh my gosh, she's glowing. Couldn't- like she couldn't be happier. Obviously, the next weekend she brings over all that stuff, right, that she's had. We're like, thank you. You know, that's just her. She's just that teaches me, you know, unselfishness, personal sacrifice for others, right? And I don't think I could ever get to that level. I mean, that's just crazy. I don't know. That's obviously I would sacrifice my entire life for my kid, like just save them or whatever, right? But to be able to do what she did is just unimaginable to me.
So, can you think of a memory that related to your mom that kinda just every time you think about it, it brings you to tears?
Yeah, just like that and what I just told you. And there's this moment where, so she doesn't know English very well back in the day. So the only real job she could have got was like working in a restaurant, right? Where she's back there constantly prepping food, cutting stuff, peeling stuff, wrapping stuff, whatever, right? Constantly doing that. I don't even know if she had a break to eat. But one time she told me, like, I was so sick and so tired when I was back there working, I thought I was gonna die. That's like, what? And you didn't tell anybody? You just kept working? I don't, that's just crazy. Like, I just can't imagine that, how bad my shoulders were hurt. Because today when I'm making a bunch of dumplings, my shoulders get so sore from just rolling, whatever. I can't imagine just being there for 10, 12 hours food prepping, how sore and exhausted and aching you would be. And to say that you were so sick that you, you thought you were going to die and still came back the next day and did it without complaining. That's just crazy.
So then, those moments of sacrifice, it makes you your chest feels heavy or what?
Yeah, I mean, it makes me happy that I had somebody that took care of me like that, but it also makes me really, really sad for my mom. Just thinking about the life that she lived, um, and how unfair it was that she had to endure all that for me and my siblings, you know. Um, so really sad, and so Asian moms are pretty aggressive and they're all up in your business, right? Well, obviously she's all up in my business, but then like, when I get frustrated, right, I get reminded of like that sacrifice that she's done for me, right? And then I'm like, I can't be mad. I mean,
Yeah, our emotions are tempered by time, I feels like, and it's just when you think of all the sacrifices that your parents you don't really realize it until you get older, really, like, so I understand how, my kids aren't gonna really understand and until they get to, like, 50 or maybe even older, who knows? Everybody learns different times, but, somewhere I'm hoping that I'm still alive and they begin to realize the sacrifices we make, but it feels amazing when you feel like they're learning something that finally soaks in and that I don't I'm also I don't wanna even take credit for it because it's like as soon as it and nor should you, I guess, you're just proud of the moments, they're just proud to who they're becoming, you know? It's
I tell you, Jim, like I know you feel like a lot of that stuff is just not being soaked in,
yeah.
but trust me, it is. All of the stuff you're nagging, they call nagging about, they actually take it to heart eventually. It actually becomes like a base because eventually they come back to that like, yeah, I remember dad telling me that.
So, if you could go back 5 years from now and rewatch this, what would you want to get out of this? What message do you want this to be? Maybe to someone going through something similar.
Oh, I think number one, trust God, you know, just trust him wholeheartedly, you know. Um, Number two, don't be afraid. I think that's it.
So thank you for taking me out of Vietnam over here to live. Thank you for blessing me all the day of my life. Thank you for taking care of me all the day of my life. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for have mercy on me, Lord. Thank you for heal my body, Lord. I want you to tell me what you're doing now. Okay? Let me know what you're doing now.
Hello, I'm Trung, Holly's baby brother and favorite, of course. Yeah, it's my speech. Today I'll be reflecting on my memories with Holly, and hopefully we'll have a few laughs along the way before the tears start flowing. Mom told me the other day that Holly was such a beautiful baby and toddler. Her eighth uncle on Dad's side kept walking back and forth, just taking a glimpse of her. He would also peep around the corner, and he kept saying how pretty she was. It sounds like we need to watch out for Uncle number 8. It didn't sound creepy at all when Mom told me that story to me the other day. Hopefully we didn't leave Holly alone with Abe. I remember when we were young, I used to pick on her. You know, we picked on each other like normal healthy kids. Anyways, there's this doll that we had, and it had a string that if you pull it, you know, it'll talk. You pull it, hi, I'm Molly. You pull it again, I'm hungry. It had these big, brown, dark eyes that stared into your soul. Yeah, it was a little creepy. I used to chase her around with it, pulling the string. I think we all did, I don't know why. I swear that thing sometimes spoke without us pulling the string. You know, Holly was a born teacher, professional nagger, and sweet as can be. Holly has the nicest soft voice. Sometimes I wish she didn't. Like when we were kids, she would say, Trung, I need you to do the dishes. I want to yell at her and say no, but how can I with that sweet voice? At least raise your voice, give me something. a little over a month ago, she called and asked, Trung, can you install a water filter spout in my sink? I've been drinking dirty tap water. And I'm like, sure, I'm a little busy right now, but I can get to you in a few weeks. I need it tomorrow. Dang it, I guess I'll reschedule my vegging on the couch for the day. Come to find out though, this was the last thing I helped her with. Not everyone knows this, but I'm a sinner because I followed in my big sister's footsteps. And when I didn't know what to major in my sophomore year in college, she gave me the idea to do MIS. So you can say that she helped shape a very big part of who I am today. So Micah, you have your go Holly today. Else you might be rooting for those orange cowpunks in Stillwater. I got to room with Holly, her best friend Ken, and my cousin Mike, my sophomore year at OU. Mike is here. He can back me up on this. She had it all laid out on whose turn it was to cook and clean. We're on a strict schedule in that little apartment. I'll tell you what, we all kept a close track of that schedule. Not because of what you might think, but because we wanted to know when our cousin Mike was cooking. Because we knew for that week, we'd all be eating elsewhere other than home. I remember when Holly was first diagnosed with her cancer, that it came back and that it had spread throughout her body. We were there in her living room, and she mentioned that she was surprised to see that I was there to support her, and that she didn't think I cared. It killed me inside. I was thinking, how can she even think that? What did I ever do to make my sister think that I don't care enough to support her through something like this? What kind of person am I? You know, though, as I reflect back to the recent years before the cancer, I really wasn't there for her, and really didn't show her the love that I wanted and that she needed from her brother. John 13:34. Jesus' last commandment to his followers is to love one another as he loved you. Yeah, Haley and Mike, I know you guys never seen me cry, but here it is. So I would encourage everyone to love one another and give them grace as God would. Holly seemed to love everyone. She loved God, her family, fashion, and food, as you'll see in the slideshow coming up. Her best friend was her daughter, Victoria, whom she loved more than anything in this world. She will be missed by many. I will end this with a poem I wrote. It's called My G3, and it goes something like this. The day God gave the world you is the day the ocean turned blue. You're beautiful inside and out, with a smile that would stop any power. You're the rudder that guides my ship, of many ships. You're the light that shines on Mom's shores. Even though it's only been a short time, I miss you already, as part of my rudder isn't there to help me. In life, I have many sisters, but I only have one, G3, and I miss you. Even though I'm not in a hurry to see you, I know we will be together again, bodies anew. But until then, you will just have to live inside my mind. As my heart is broken, you will find. There were 7, now there's 6. It's just not the same without you in the mix. You're my only G-twin, and I know it.
The Odyssey is about an adventure, writing your own story. This message is for my son, Ian, and hopefully one day he'll watch this video and get something out of it. He likes the musical epic. And so the message I want to give you is, Ian, everybody has their own epic, and every man has a odyssey to sail. But what I want to tell you is that the monsters aren't on distant lands. They actually live inside of us. I named this particular monster the Baratherum. And it's a monster of grief and loss. And I've watched it wound my friend Trung. And I won't lie to you, it's a monster I fear too. But I also watched him keep showing up for his mom, for his kids, for me, even while it's still wounding him. And I know why. His faith carries him through it, especially when he can't carry himself. That's something I had to figure out for myself too. I'll tell you about my own battles with other monsters in its own video. And I'm telling you this so that when you find yourself in your own battles, you can find the light. That's my message to you, and I hope one day it finds you.